Despite the widespread belief that there is in fact a specific singular disease called Alzheimer's, against which science is waging war, what the public isn't told is that so-called Alzheimer's disease can neither be clinically nor pathologically differentiated from normal brain aging, and that no two journeys, no two clinical courses are ever the same. When seeing patients in my clinic, I will sometimes hold out my left hand parallel to the floor to illustrate this point, explaining that the trajectory along which people age varies in the same way my 5 fingers aim. My thumb can actually point up, some people improve, but my spread fingers show varying rates of decline. Although we will all gradually lose some of our cognitive abilities as we age, there is no such thing as Alzheimer's disease that claims elderly victims or erodes our personhood. No one trajectory or series of progressive stages that we are all fated to advance along should be given the AD label. In fact, neurologists have a saying that goes, once you've seen one person with Alzheimer's, you've seen one person with Alzheimer's. As you will learn in our book, there is no one biological profile of Alzheimer's disease that is consistent from person to person. Moreover, the biological hallmarks of Alzheimer's, thought to be beta-amyloid plaques and neurofibrillary tangles, are also the hallmarks of normal brain aging. Clinical pathological studies, including the famous Nun study which graced the cover of Time magazine in 2001, have shown that many elderly people with a high volume of plaques and tangles in their brains do not clinically manifest symptoms of cognitive impairment. And conversely, it can also be the case that persons with a relatively low volume of plaques and tangles do manifest signs of dementia. If our spokesmen and women were truthful, they would be telling us that Alzheimer's is not a singular condition caused exclusively by beta-amyloid plaques or neurofibrillary tangles, that what we now call Alzheimer's disease actually represents multiple conditions closely related, in fact, identical to severe brain aging. These changes include vascular changes, inflammation, oxidative stress, loss of neurotransmitters, loss of cells and synapses, as well as the formation of a variety of abnormal proteins. I remember once appearing on the Oprah Winfrey Show in the 1980s when I was a younger, more biologically oriented researcher at the Johns Hopkins University. I recall sitting on stage to share important developments in current Alzheimer's research, and having Oprah ask me, isn't Alzheimer's what we used to call senility? Looking back on that interview, I was impressed at Oprah's observations about the scientifically inaccurate social construction of Alzheimer's. At the time, I thought that she was unfamiliar with the latest thinking about dementia. In hindsight, she perhaps was a step ahead of me. Perhaps Oprah was asking me to get beyond the hype of the disease myth and contemplate what 2 decades later had become the central question surrounding AD. Should a singular disease label with frightening and stigmatizing cultural meanings be used to describe a condition that without the label might otherwise be considered variable human brain aging, and be received with compassion and empathy rather than fear, dread, and paranoia? Upon the 100th anniversary of Alzheimer's disease, it is time to consider the facts and ask ourselves, what story do we, as a culture, want to tell about brain aging?